the NFL and the NFL Referees Association still finalizing their opt-out procedures. They have 121 officials lined up to go for the 2020 season. And, Chris, you consider the demographics of the group of officials, middle-aged and older.
Yeah.
They're already out there trying not to get trampled by the gladiators as it is. You give them the opportunity to press pause. When you consider, because the NFL, for the most part, doesn't have full-time officials, they all have other jobs. It's not like they're going to go without. They don't need a stipend. They just go work their other jobs for a year, and then they pick up their careers next year.
So you're saying full-time officials that were getting paid a lot of money might have been a good idea now. I mean, that might have been a good idea. Might have been a good idea to keep them under your thumb, NFL. Right.
Might have been a good idea to have full-time officials because it's going to be a lot harder for them to say, see you later, we're taking a year off.
Right.
It's going to be a lot easier for the part-time officials to take that year off and pick up where they left off next year. I haven't heard any of the details about what the opt-out window, what the standards, what the factors will be. Maybe with the officials, they're not going to let them just say, I have no health condition, I have no family situation, I have no objective reason for being concerned, I just don't want to work in the pandemic. Maybe it's going to be harder for those folks to say I'm out, because when you look at how many players have opted out, I have a feeling a significant percentage of the officials will opt out, and that may be that pressure point. Ooh. That may be why they don't have a deal yet, a month and a week away from the first game that counts. Especially when, consider it, these officials are being thrust into the fray this year.
Right.
There's going to be more mistakes than ever before because they don't have training camp. They don't have preseason. They can't go to training camps. They can't do the things that ordinarily they would do to get themselves ready for the season. And so they're going to be criticized. You think people aren't going to criticize bad calls? They're going to say, oh, well, let's give these guys a break. They didn't have the access to preseason. This is going to be a rough year for the officials anyway. I think it makes it even more likely that some are going to opt out.
Well, like the risk is real. I mean, you're right. Hey, the referee's got to get in the scrum a lot. Think about, there's a fumble, right? There's two guys in there peeling off the bodies, right? Doing that. Oh, there's a fight. There's, guys up in each other's face, yelling at each other. Oh, the referee's got to get in the middle. He's got to get, hit from, mouth spray on both sides. So I understand him being concerned there, definitely. Now, where, this is something I wrote down in my phone over the weekend. You're right. They're going to lose, the, preseason experience, getting some of those plays under their belt. But the one thing that's jumped out to me about sports so far, and especially in basketball and baseball, the fans not being there, Mike, I think has led to easier games for the referees. I'm seeing less complaining from NBA players, right? There's no fan yelling at the referee over his right shoulder like, you suck, you're the worst referee I've ever seen in his life. So he's not dealing with that. And I also think, the players aren't as embarrassed because there's the fans not booing or, oh, you shot an air ball, and he's going to complain and make up some, oh, I got fouled or whatever else. So it's been somewhat very smooth, and I've enjoyed that about baseball too. There's no fans going, that's a horrible call. And now you're not seeing the players, upstage the umps and yelling. I haven't seen any of that. So that was one thing I was kind of excited for, and then I saw this, and I went, oh, man, now we might have an issue with the referees, and it might not even be the normal referees. And if we have backup referees in a year like this, who the hell knows what happens, especially if they're not going the backup referees don't get any reps to practice or do anything like that. That's when all hell could break loose.
And one last note on the way out from this segment, they are going to specifically construct the crews to be geographically close to where they're going to have their games. You can have the same officiating crew pop up time and again for teams because they want to minimize the travel for the crews. They want to eliminate flying wherever they possibly can. They know that they can't completely eliminate it. But it's going to be a different year for the officials as well. And the first step is how many will opt out. And before we can get to that point, they have to finalize whatever the rules are going to be. They haven't done it yet, which tells me there's some push and pull. There's some tension. There's some pressure. And we'll see if they can get it worked out.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.